Welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am joined this morning by Glenn Lytle. He is the SVP of Commercial Sales for Glow Fiber Business. Glenn, thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on the show. Appreciate it.
We're excited to talk this morning. So, Glow Fiber actually started in the Shenandoah Valley, so I have to give a quick shout out to my hometown of Harrisonburg, Virginia. So I'm really excited to hear more about the expansion, though, because you have gone from Virginia to many other communities.
Right.
So would love to hear about that this morning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah. So can you tell me a little bit about that growth and some of those recent expansions and where you're going?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll start with kind of where we're at, because I think what's important is we were recently a part of an acquisition from Horizon, another large fiber provider, primarily in Ohio, and so it's uniquely positioned us with the network where we're kind of in between two of the largest. Data centers in the U.S. So in Chicago, Cermak, and Ashburn, and so now with presence in Columbus, which is kind of, you got the old data centers in Cermak and Ashburn, and now the growth in Columbus in terms of the hyperscaler growth and that kind of thing is really become a prominent area for that. So now we're in a position for network expansion from Chicago all the way through to Ashburn, and then all points in between. So continuing to expand out, what we call the water stain, the fiber water stain, in terms of the Glow Fiber brand, branching up into Pennsylvania. And so in addition to the acquisition into Ohio, organic growth up into Pennsylvania, so State College, York, Lancaster areas. And so again, continuing to build out the fiber as data needs, demand.
Yeah, what an incredible expansion that you're in the middle of right now, a great footprint that you're building. So thank you for sharing that. I want to talk next about a key issue among ISPs, and that's deploying more fiber across their service areas. This is something Glow Fiber has done really well, and I'm curious how you're working with local service providers to leverage your existing fiber network.
Sure. Well, I think we actually have a couple of different divisions. One is the direct sales team, so out there selling directly to end users. And then the second would be, as you mentioned, working with other local service providers. So we do have a wholesale group. And so, any areas that we can help other smaller ISPs or even larger ISPs that look to interconnect island networks that they have. So, we are able to leverage a lot of the long haul and interconnecting cities, and we work with wireless internet service providers to fill in some of the gaps. A lot of the initiatives now to push broadband out into some of the rural footprint, given our legacy footprints,
Right.
Are a little bit more legacy or rural in nature. Working with those local ISPs is very important because they can push it out even further than where our network is existing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touch on something I wanted to talk about next, which is the digital divide.
Mm-hmm.
And you all are doing great work there because, as you've mentioned, many of your customers are impacted by that. So tell me how you're working to close that. What steps are you taking?
Sure. Well, there's a lot that goes into that for sure. I think it's really just leveraging all the resources. It's leveraging the existing fiber assets that we have, working with state and federal government with the different grants and their initiatives. They're looking to push, fiber deployment and broadband into a lot of the rural areas. And so we're fortunate in that, we are focused more on secondary and tertiary markets. So we're naturally already kind of deploying fiber in those areas. But then working with local school districts is a great starting point to kind of, get into a market and then help deploy from there. So an anchor tenant, if you will, is a lot of cases how we're able to penetrate into a market, and certainly partnering with a lot of the funding resources that are available to make sure that, because we've got a presence in a lot of these rural areas, it's easier for us to kind of work in between and around those footprints. So, we're thrilled to be a part of a lot of that.
Yeah, and it's such important work
Absolutely.
that you're doing. Yeah, that's great. That's great. Now, a topic we can't stay away from at this conference is AI. So I want to hear a little bit about how are you helping your small and medium-sized enterprise customers who are considering how AI might fit into their overall strategy. What do you tell them, or what are the strategy that you help them with?
Sure. Well, I think, AI is a funny thing. I think a lot of people are still trying to figure out what it even means. I think that in terms of my guidance for folks that are considering it, it's you got to get in the game and you got to figure it out soon. I heard someone quote earlier that it's kind of like If you're not using AI in your business, it's kind of like saying we're not going to use Excel to do spreadsheets. You're just going to use a calculator. So I think that it's a pretty profound analogy, but that's really kind of what we're seeing is folks that are adopting early are really driving efficiencies into the business. And so that's kind of where we come in on the back end is how can we provide the tools and resources from a technology perspective, whether it's interconnecting to data centers. I mean, again, that hyperscaler growth that I mentioned in Columbus and in some of the other areas is certainly indicative of what we're seeing in AI. It's what's really driving a lot of that bandwidth need into the data centers. And so, that just shows you how it's going to continue to push out into the edge and drive bandwidth needs from small and medium customers. But I think understanding really what it means and how it can drive efficiencies into their business is critical. I mean, it could be how do you do a better job of managing your customer service, or using AI on if you've got delivery services on mapping out the routes. And again, it all kind of comes back to how can we help them with the tools in bandwidth and internet connectivity to drive those efficiencies.
Right. It's critical for so many verticals, so many small and medium sized
100%.
businesses, and how they can be more efficient.
Yeah, it's
Thank
going to
you
be
for
fun to
sharing
watch
that.
it unfold. That's for sure.
Yeah. Now tell me what's on the horizon, or what's coming in 2025 for Glow Fiber
Sure.
business.
Yeah, so 2024, just wrapped up the acquisition of Horizon, and so really, completing that integration, which was a lot of work, got through that very quickly, and now it's really just growth for us in 2025. What really got us here has been primarily kind of that enterprise, the larger business, the government, education, healthcare, carrier, and tower. So continue to do that, but I think where you're going to see us really pivot and become very aggressive in 25 is more of that small and medium business. So with the deployment of a lot of our Glow Fiber out into some new markets, the broadband capabilities and some bundle packages on the small business side is really where we're focused. It's important to kind of get sales a little closer to the edge in the small business, and so we've really made some investments in local leadership, local sales engineering, and in kind of upgrading our product bag to make sure that we can really play in that space. So we're excited to really continue to do what we've done well over the last couple of years and really start to penetrate into that small and medium business segment.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, and best of luck in 2025. We really appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Great. And to our viewers, stay connected and happy networking. Welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA. I am joined today by John Celentano, the business editor of Inside Towers. John, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you have a really unique perspective because you are reporting on a lot of the people who are here at this conference.
That's correct.
So I would love to just start out by hearing a little bit more about Inside Towers, the publication.
Yeah, Inside Towers is a daily newsletter that appears magically in your inbox 6 a.m. every morning. Towers is in our name, but we cover all aspects of digital infrastructure, from towers to fiber to data centers to small cells, edge infrastructure, in-building wireless, power. And we reach a pretty good size audience of people in the industry, whether they be operators, manufacturers, and suppliers, and professionals like consultants and lawyers and others. So it's we get a lot of good feedback. People appreciate, I think, the timely nature of the publication. They get a chance to kind of catch up on what's going on in the industry first thing every morning. It's like I said, it's daily, and so we try to stay on top of what's going on, not only domestically but internationally. And we look at topics from a business point of view, a technology point of view, and regulatory point of view. So I'm the business editor. We have a Washington bureau chief, and we cover all of that. So.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Now, you said it shows up magically. I'm sure a lot of hard work goes into that. So,
well,
yeah.
our managing editor says you don't want to see how the sausage is made. So,
yeah.
So by 3:00 every day, we're editing, and then it's getting ready for push out in the morning. So,
yeah, such important news. So, yeah, thank you for doing what you do. And I'm excited to talk trends because you do have such a good pulse on the industry. So, AI is making waves across every single sector. What impact do you see AI having on the wireless industry in particular, and digital infrastructure as a whole?
Yeah, that's the question of the day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, AI is the talk of all these conferences. I was at a tower conference last week. AI was being discussed. It's being discussed here, and it'll permeate through the whole ecosystem. So it really starts in the data center. In fact, some of the advocates are referring to data centers these days as AI factories, meaning all the learning models are in the data center with these graphical processing units and the like. But realistically, what will happen is once we move from the learning and the training mode into the inference mode, where we're actually using data to analyze and predict outcomes from that data, all of that's going to get dispersed down to the edge of the network. So we're talking, we need large fiber optic pipes to make that happen. We need more towers because now we're connecting to devices that are AI enabled. iPhone, there's an iPhone out now that's AI enabled, right? So the impact starts at the data center, but we are seeing what it's doing and the influence it's having at the tower side of it, on the wireless side. So, wireless is a key component of making all this work, right? And that's the trend we see now. We're not talking overnight. We're talking probably a 7 to 10 year time frame. But already we're seeing planning going on amongst the tower companies and the wireless carriers. For instance, the wireless carriers deploying more spectrum, so they'll have the bandwidth to handle these AI applications. And they're locating on more towers. They have spectrum that they still have to turn up and license and activate. So it's already having an effect. And so the tower companies, for instance, are reporting now. They're saying their revenues are up, typically 3-4% a year, which is consistent with their lease agreements. And the tower companies are reporting that their tenants, the mobile network operators, are asking for more co-locations, meaning they're going on more towers because they're putting cell sites out, not just out from the major metro areas, out into second-tier markets, small towns, and rural areas.
Right.
Getting ready, as it were, so that they're putting the capacity in place, and they'll be able to deliver those kind of applications when they're available.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that because we hadn't approached that specific topic of AI yet at the conference from the wireless perspective. So
It's
yeah,
an
thank you.
ecosystem.
Yeah,
We have
yeah,
to think of it as an ecosystem. It's not just data centers. Yes, everything is focused on the data. Yes, the big money is being spent on data centers, but ultimately it all ties together. It has to. The data centers have to communicate with each other. They have to move that AI traffic to the edge to
right.
users like you and I,
Yeah,
like businesses, like
yeah.
governments, and so definitely has an influence from the data centers to the edge.
Yeah, great. So interesting. And another topic I want to touch on is 5G deployment.
Yeah.
So it's continuing to expand. What challenges and opportunities are top of mind for operators and network providers?
The operators still have a lot of spectrum that they acquired in auctions, in the FCC auctions, that they still have to deploy. And so that's good news for the tower companies. The tower companies report that they're seeing requests for more co-locations on new towers and fewer amendments, meaning changes to existing sites. So the carriers are building out their networks and the tower companies are responding to that. So that is driving a lot of activity on that side of it. So, like I said, they're reporting good results for last year, and their pipeline of new leases and new demand is building. So I think the outlook for the next few years is pretty positive.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And then an extra question. I'm going to hit you with one just on
Sure.
the fly. What's been your favorite part of the conference? Have you seen a panel or a discussion that was particularly interesting to you or a topic?
To be honest with you, they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
And I come to these conferences and I learn something new and different, or I get a different perspective on something I'd been thinking about or learning about.
Right.
So no, this is good. I think this particular conference is an interesting mix of operators and investors and professionals that support all of that.
Right.
And you always learn something new.
Yeah.
I've been in the business a while, and I always learn something new.
Yeah, that's great. I thought it was just me. So it's great
No,
to
no,
hear
no, no,
a
no.
veteran also learning new things here at Metro Connect.
Every day.
So yeah,
Every
great.
day, it's great.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Emily, I enjoyed the
Yeah.
conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And to our viewers, stay connected and happy networking. Thanks for tuning in. Welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am joined today by Mike Honeycutt. He is the Product Marketing Manager for Carrero, and also Mike Powell. He is the Sales Engineer for the East Coast and Canada. I prefer to call them Mike Squared. This is a nickname that we have going now. So Mike and Mike, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Emily, for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's start out. Just tell our viewers a little bit more about Carrero for those who don't know.
Yeah, so Carrero Network Security, we're a global company. So we serve across many different markets. But what we like to call ourselves are champions of service availability. So what does that mean to the lay person, right? So your service goes down, Netflix goes down. Oh no, what does that mean? It's the end of the world, right? So there's a lot of costs and externalities that are associated with that. So what we do is we help protect those services and make sure that they're up and available. And how do we do that? Through DDoS protection, right? So we mitigate the attacks that bring those services down, those critical services down. We keep those services up and available, all without adding complexity to the companies that use us.
Excellent. That is such a good way for people to understand, because everybody can relate to Netflix going down. So
Right,
very
sure.
important work,
Yeah.
very important work. So you are known, you've touched on it a little bit, but Carrero is known for its work in real-time DDoS protection. What's driving demand for stronger cybersecurity solutions in today's digital infrastructure landscape?
I mean, we're just more interconnected, right? So we talk about, Netflix as an example. It could be Meta, so Facebook, right? So more people are interacting online. And as we're also seeing with AI, right? AI is scaling, driving more demand. As those demands increase, so do the bad actors, right? So those bad actors are looking to exploit your network and get in different ways. And so by that way, we have to make sure that we're keeping those services up. And that's what's keeping DDoS protection in high demand right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for sharing
Sure.
that. Now, I want to talk a little bit about AI as well, because that's becoming a double-edged sword when we talk about that. In cybersecurity, it can be both a threat that bad actors use, and it can be a tool. So how is Carrero using AI to strengthen defenses and stay ahead of attacks?
Well, I'll go ahead and tell you two things. I'll tell you how we're protecting it, and then also how we're using it. Right. So AI companies, what they've learned is they cannot scale in the cloud themselves. Typically, what these large AI companies are doing is they're buying data centers themselves. They have their own infrastructure, their own network, right? And if they get a DDoS attack coming to them, they don't have the time to wait for that attack to get redirected to another protection somewhere, another data center. They need something in their data center right there that can mitigate that attack, within 1 second or less, versus waiting minutes for that attack, right? And so that's where we come in. We're on-premise, DDoS protection. We can protect those AI data centers immediately, right? And we've had success in this. We've had AI companies coming to us because they need that low latency protection. Now, how we're using AI, we utilize it in our threat research, right? So we have something called a DDoS intelligence service, where all the attacks we're seeing worldwide, we actually have a research team that combs through those, that looks for new attacks, new ways that we can protect. And we use AI to help us go through that technology and through those attacks and figure out what we can do differently, what we can, change, what we can evolve to. So we're both protecting AI, and we're also utilizing it to help us evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. And even to probably predict attacks before they happen, right?
Absolutely.
To say this looks suspicious and we need to root that out before it even gets
exactly.
here. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Tell me what's coming for Carrero in 2025?
Why don't you tell them about Core?
Okay, yeah. So we have a newer product coming that's called Core, and what it is a cloud-based data analytics. It's also zero trust is what we're going to be able to do with it for availability, also botnet protection. But ultimately, we want to be able to take in data into our data lake in the cloud. So this could be traffic logs. It could be logs of access on servers. It's just information on what's happening, right? And we can use AI to kind of crawl that and make decisions. And then we can use our on-premise equipment. It could be our appliance, could be a router, could be a server SmartNIC, and we can enforce blocks or allowing traffic or blocking traffic based on what we're seeing in the cloud. We can then do that on-prem. Right, so we want to become kind of a vendor-neutral point of enforcement. So there's a lot of network security products that can tell you something is happening. Oh, you got attacked here, and this is what the attack was. But they don't have any enforcement points, right? So we want to be able to ingest all that data from all these other softwares, say, okay, we can actually enforce that for you.
Yeah.
Right? And so that's one thing that we're kind of doing up in the cloud. Right? So
Great. That sounds like a great product. Congratulations. Hopefully you
Thank
have
you.
a strong launch in 2025 for that. And I thank you for being here today, Mike. And Mike, thank you so
Thank
much.
great
you so
talking
much.
with you.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you. And to our viewers, stay curious, stay connected, and happy networking. Welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am so pleased to be joined right now by Deborah Freitas. She is the CEO of LightSource Communications. Deborah, thank you so much for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, great to have you. And I'd love to start just by hearing a little bit more about LightSource Communications.
Sure. So LightSource was founded in 2014. My business partner Pete Empey and myself are co-owners. We're an owner-operator of fiber network across the USA in really strategic markets.
Excellent. And across many, many states, we just talked about them. So you're in Arizona and...
Yeah, we're in Nevada. We have Las Vegas. We have Tulsa, Oklahoma, Iowa, Nebraska, and a few others. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Great. And I want to talk right now actually about Tulsa, Oklahoma, because
Good.
that's a great expansion that you've just had. So I would love to hear more about that project.
It is. It's really exciting for us. We've had network in Tulsa for several years. We had 50 miles there, and it's been a successful route for us. But we have expanded now an additional 80 miles network, and we're really happy to say that the project has gone very well, and we're accelerating our delivery date, which is great for us and our customer.
Oh, congratulations. It's always good when something finishes faster.
It is
than
always
you thought
good,
it-
yeah.
Especially in the world of like delays, because I feel like we always hear about projects getting delayed, there's supply chain issues. So
For sure.
congratulations.
Thank you very much. And then at the same time, we also have this really huge project in Phoenix that is going on. And so to have one project be so successful and, get done quickly is really nice. But we also have, this other project that's going, it's on schedule as well. So it's really good. We have 300 miles that we're building in Phoenix Valley. So that's really exciting for us too.
Good. Well, fingers crossed that that's also maybe ahead of schedule, but it sounds it's at least on time.
We're doing good
great.
right now. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how were you able to accomplish so much so quickly? Because it is difficult to keep projects on track sometimes. So
It is. We have an excellent team. It's our COO, Dan Enright, has got 35 years experience. He is a master at running projects. And so he's assembling his own team now, which is really being beneficial for us. And, as we expand even further, having that team in place and Dan at the helm of that is really where we're, how we're doing this.
Excellent. Well, great. Well, congratulations
Thank
to
you.
you and the entire team. And is there anything else you want to share with us today?
Sure. Well, we're expanding our team. Besides Dan, we've added a CFO, Matt Gutierrez. He's joined us just here recently. He's a 30-year veteran in the industry in the finance side. And as we sit in this moment, it's a time for growth for LightSource for sure. And so we wanted to bring on a CFO who could kind of guide us and through some of that, the financial side of expansion. And he's doing a great job for us. We're really excited. This show is great for us as well. So it's all good stuff.
Yeah, and it's a big finance show. So hopefully he's here maybe.
Yeah, he is,
good. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, and so he run it out our team. We have Pete, myself, we have Joe Patton as our CRO, and then of course Dan Enright, COO, and now we have Matt as our CFO. So we feel really good about our leadership team.
Good. Well, congratulations on the growth of both your networks and also of your team.
Thank you.
That's fantastic. Yeah. And thank you so much for being here today.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
And to our viewers, thanks for tuning in to our Metro Connect interviews. Stay connected and happy networking. Welcome to JSA TV, where we are covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am joined today by Gauri Potdar. She is the Chief Commercial Officer of GPC Infrastructure. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
excited
you.
to have this conversation and hear more about GPC Infrastructure. So, for
Perfect.
our viewers who do not know, can you
Okay.
tell us what you do in this space?
Yeah, absolutely. So GPC Infrastructure provides data centers with on-site energy as a service. We do that by owning and operating behind the meter natural gas power generation. So what our focus is to provide an easy button and alternative to the utility that is highly reliable. And our focus is to try to cover the entire value chain for on-site power generation. So that means we cover physical gas supply, the pipeline interconnect, the gas contract for both energy and transportation. We handle all of the facility design. We handle the air permitting, the procurement, engineering, construction, operations, and commodity risk management. So a lot of things have to go into play to provide a seamless integrated solution for the data center operator. And our job is to make that as seamless and as easy as possible. And so that's our value proposition is we provide on-site power as a service. We are energy veterans. We're backed by energy capital, and we're here to make power a resolve the power constraints that
Yes.
are facing this industry.
And it's such an important conversation right now. And that's
Yeah.
what I want to ask you about next are the power constraints. So why do people need energy as a service right now more than ever?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the collision of two different forces at the same time. The utility infrastructure that was built out in the 1970s, the transmission and distribution infrastructure that was built out is, strained at the time when we've had major forces in electrification that are happening. We have not just AI power demand, we have electrification broadly for manufacturing, vehicles, right? So the power infrastructure is getting hit from multiple areas, and that's creating broader constraints. And that manifests themselves in interconnection queues. So data centers have 3, 4, 5 year wait times to be able to access power. And the utilities are struggling with how do I deal with this influx of requests? They are required to serve load, right? But they're required to do that in an orderly way. And what that means is that speed to market, that is what data centers are trying to do, and being able to deliver solutions to their tenants as quickly as possible, those timelines get extended longer and longer. And so how do you solve that? And for us, the right solution is to bring the power to the data center and to be able to get them powered and energized as quickly as possible.
Yeah, it's so important and something that a lot of data center operators are looking for right now. So it's such a critical need that we're talking about here. And the next thing I want to ask is natural gas is the particular solution that you're bringing. Why natural gas? What are the benefits of natural gas?
Yeah, I mean, natural gas has a lot of different benefits. First, natural gas is truly plentiful in the United States, right? We produce 25% of the global natural gas supply.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Permian Basin, the Marcellus, all across the country in places that often overlap with key data center markets, like Ohio, Pennsylvania. There's a lot of gas available. Number one. Number two, the gas pipeline infrastructure is vast. There's 2.6 million miles of gas transmission distribution infrastructure. There are the way the transmission infrastructure for power is constrained, gas supply is ubiquitous and broadly unconstrained, right? So by using natural gas that's available, that's in places where data centers want to be, you can now have many more locations that open up for data center operators in terms of being adjacent to tier 1, tier 2 primary markets, because gas supply is available. And then finally, gas supply truly is a responsible solution, right? If you can capture the waste heat in deploying a thermal solution, gas power generation can be 85% efficient. Compare that to the grid, which is 35-40% efficient, because you lose a lot of generation in transmission and distribution. You lose a lot of efficiency in doing that, right? So gas is reliable. Gas is, when you can use it efficiently, can have half the emissions of the grid. And you can blend in renewable natural gas, or you can blend in hydrogen and run it through that same equipment, and all of a sudden you have a carbon neutral approach to power generation, right? So we think the profile of gas and being able to provide base load prime power to the data center is really unmatched from a generation fuel perspective, and it can be deployed quickly.
Yeah,
Right?
so many fantastic proof points that you've just shared there. So thank you for telling us more about that.
Yeah.
And 2025, what does that look like for GPC infrastructure? What's on the horizon? What are you looking forward to?
Well, we are really excited to introduce ourselves to this industry. We come from the energy commodity world. We've been in power, natural gas, and infrastructure doing this a very long time. And we're really excited to bring both energy capital and our expertise to provide on-site power generation and find the right anchor deal for our company. So we're excited to talk to data center operators, whether they've got sites they're looking at that need power solutions, or we have sites that we can bring to the table where they can co-locate both power and data centers. We're excited to bring some innovation to this space a little bit, because by utilizing the waste heat, we can provide cooling to the data center as well as power, and that helps potentially offset some of their capital, allowing them to sell more compute. That also creates a very highly efficient thermal solution for the data center. So we're just excited to both resolve the power constraints and maybe give them more optionality, and bring some from innovation in terms of being able to address the needs of their tenants and their customers.
Yeah,
So-
absolutely. And this is a great show to be at, to have all of those conversations and meet the people who do need GPC infrastructure's help. So, yeah, I hope you have a great rest of the show. And thank you for stopping by and talking to us.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun. I really appreciate all of you guys supporting us, and we look forward to getting more involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And to all of our viewers, thanks for tuning into our interviews here at Metro Connect. Happy networking. Welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer. I'm here for JSA, and I'm delighted to be joined right now by Bill Severn. He is the CEO and president of 1623 Farnham. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Emily.
Yeah, now 1623 Farnham is a premier interconnection hub in the central U.S. For those who aren't familiar with it, can you tell us what you all do?
Yeah, it's a great question. So if you think about 1623 Farnham right in Omaha, we're right in the central part of the United States. We're right along the 41st parallel. So if you think about when first fiber routes were being built in the United States, they wanted the shortest path from east to west.
Yeah.
And so the 41st parallel was the shortest path, which Omaha sits in. So our facility is where a lot of the fiber aggregates going north, south, and east and west. And, we have over 60 carriers in the building and over 30 broadband providers. So as you think about an ecosystem and a value equation with all those broadband providers, they have access to all these different networks and routes for redundancy, for cost, for latency. And then when you think about content, all the content want close to eyeballs. And so a lot of content comes into the building because they're close to all those broadband providers.
Yep. So centrally located. Thank you for sharing that
Very much
overview
so.
with us.
Yeah.
And I want to talk next about the Omaha Internet Exchange. So it continues to grow as an essential part of your ecosystem.
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about that growth?
Yeah, as the magnitude of data transmission and content grows, peering is becoming more and more important for all the broadband providers and content providers. And so our IX has grown twofold in the last year as far as traffic from a peering standpoint.
Yeah.
Some of our content providers have grown 3x in the IX. We've added Apple to the IX this year, the Microsoft Community Cache, and then we're upgrading right now to 400 gig circuits.
Oh wow! Congratulations!
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
a
you.
lot of growth. Not
Yeah.
just in one area. A
Yeah.
lot of growth. Great. Well, thank you for sharing that with
Uh-huh.
us. And now we've seen significant industry consolidation and heightened demand for scalable infrastructure. What new investments, expansions, technology integrations are underway at 1623?
Yeah, another good question. So, because of the absorption rate in our building, we've accelerated building out the last two floors of our building. We started that process about a month ago. We actually announced it at PTC on this channel.
Yeah.
And those floors will be built out. They'll add another 1.5 megawatts to the facility, and those will be complete in June.
Excellent.
So we're really proud of that. Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. Completion date is very close by. So
Yeah.
congratulations.
Yeah. And we've got a lot of demand for those floors right now. So they need to be complete.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks for being here. Is
Yeah.
there anything else you want to share with our
No,
audience?
I think
before
so.
you go?
It's been a great show, and a lot of there's just a lot of energy in the crowd, and everybody that you talk to is very positive about what they have going on in the space. So
Yes.
it's a great time to be in the industry, and happy to be here. And thanks for having me.
It is, and I'm excited about today because it's actually sunny outside.
It
we
is,
might get
yes.
to go outside today. Yesterday it was
Yes.
rainy, so that's what I'm most excited for, in addition to the
Absolutely.
great conversation. So thank you
Appreciate it.
again for being here, and thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in. Happy networking. Hey, welcome back to JSA TV, where we are covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA. I'm joined right now by Scott Willis. He is the CEO of DartPoint. Scott, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. I appreciate you having me, and always look forward to the opportunity to talk about dart points.
Yeah.
Love what's going on and what we're doing.
We're looking forward to it. So I want to start talking about power constraint. This is something, a huge topic here. It's something you talked about on a panel yesterday. So it's a big challenge for the industry, and I'm wondering how are operators adapting to that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is when kind of regardless of where you sit in the data center sector, right? Power can be a bigger constraint, right? Certainly, if you think about hypers and you think some of the larger workloads and how the industry is evolving, and trying to understand demand and how does power play into that. This is a significant challenge, right, for our industry, and that's no different than the way we think about it with dart points, right? We're seeing denser workloads, we're seeing greater demands from our customers, and we're all trying to position our platforms in a way that we can support what our customers are demanding of us. So. I was on a panel yesterday, right? You and I talked about that a little bit before we got going here. This was obviously a topic that was discussed. And I think the most interesting concept there is, there's not one solution, right? It's going to be a combination of a lot of different solutions that'll come together in terms of how do we solve the power constraints that our industry is facing. But clearly, that is one of the most critical issues as an industry that we've got to work through and solve for that challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and a lot of discussion ongoing about that, and remains to be seen what are going to be the best solutions, I think. Yeah. So as power densities increase, you were just mentioning this, let's transition over to liquid cooling. I'm wondering what real world adoption that we're seeing right now, or what barriers you still think exist to fully deploying liquid cooling in data centers.
Yeah, so listen, liquid cooling is a very it's going to be an important innovation, a very important technology, and it's being deployed today at scale, right? And I mean, if you think about particularly at the upper end of the market, where you start approaching any kind of density beyond kind of 30 kW a rack. Traditional air cooling methods tend to get challenging, right? You need to look for those alternative innovations that are out there, liquid being one, that can meet the demand as you get up into 50 kW, 70 kW a rack, and even beyond that. So that's important, right? You got to solve for that. And the other thing to consider is you've also got to create an environment and a platform within your data center environment that can support liquid cooling technologies, right? It's not an easy transition from just say a traditional air environment over to a liquid cooling environment. You've got to plan for that, right? You've got to understand what is a configuration and how do you deploy an environment that'll support that type of technology. But no question, that will play a critical role in our industry from a cooling fabric perspective as we look at not only today's data centers, but future data centers that our industry will deploy.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that insight. Very, very important insight about liquid cooling and how the industry is going to adopt that. Looking ahead, it seems like AI and evolving workloads, this is only going to also continue to be a conversation that we're having. So what shifts in design and strategy are going to be required to meet future demand?
Yeah. So listen, that we just talked about one in liquid, but let me speak specifically with regards to dart points, right? As we look at either expansions of our existing facilities, or we look at potentially bringing new facilities into the market. One of the things that's important to us, particularly where we're positioned in the market, is we are positioning ourselves more towards enterprise types of workloads, and when we look at a design of a new configuration or a new facility, we're looking for maximum flexibility. We're looking for an ability to scale, and our overall objective is we want to create an environment and a platform that will capture the widest opportunity to serve commercial loads, workloads that come into our pipeline or what is the market's demanding of us. We're not trying to design a purpose-built, custom, single customer data center or something specific for the hypers. Our environment is needs to be broader, and we want to service more opportunities and service more workloads. So we got to pay attention to design, right? We've got to pay attention to scale. We've got to create an environment that allows for that kind of flexibility inside of dart points. And these types of solutions, these types of technologies are things we have to pay attention to because they're important in terms of how we invest and we bring solutions that'll support the demand we're seeing in the market.
Yes, absolutely. And is there anything on the horizon for 2025 with dart points that you want to share with viewers today?
I think a lot of it is what you're describing, right?
Yeah.
It's evolving our existing platform to be able to meet future state workloads, particularly around density. And then as we invest in it and as we expand into our portfolio, it's really bringing a platform with the right solution that meets the customer's needs and demand in the market. And that's what you're going to see out of dart points, not only in 25, but in 26 and 27 and beyond. And we're excited about that opportunity.
Awesome. Keep an eye out for dart points, everybody. Scott, thank you so much for being here. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one. And to our viewers, happy networking. Hey, welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer. I'm here for JSA, and I'm joined right now by Jay Lawrence. He is the CEO of ECS. Jay, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Emily, great to be here. Thanks. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, looking forward to talking. Let's start by talking about liquid cooling. So, ECS is a strong proponent of liquid cooling solutions. You recently unveiled an immersion cooling lab, even, so I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we look at being a complete computing business. So, you can't look at computing if one, you don't have an AI strategy, and you really don't have a good AI strategy if you can't figure out how to keep the chips cool.
Yep.
They're getting hotter and hotter. There's a green component to it as well, but that's not what's driving us. It's really getting these things to work full throttle. So, last year, we did open up our innovation lab in Los Angeles, well, City of Industry, where our facility is. We've had a liquid tank running for well over a year now, error free. It's been shipped around the country for conferences and shows, and people have been enjoying it. And we're seeing great performance. You get massive power savings in these tanks, which is one benefit. About 40% of the electricity costs go down because you're not blowing fans to cool the chips. But the other piece, with all these densities, with lots of GPUs in very tight area, you can't get enough air over them to cool them and keep them running at full throttle. So we are also kind of like Geneva. We want everyone to kind of be in the digital war. We're supplying the bullets. So it's not just immersion. We've also got technologies with direct to chip that we work with as well. And we've actually got a couple of things that we've announced around that. We'll get to that later in the interview.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Diversify. You got to diversify.
Well, it's right tool for the job.
Yeah.
Not one size fits all.
Yeah.
And when you look at what's happening in data center land today, these big 300,000 square foot data centers really don't meet the requirements and the needs of the consumer. If you look at what's happening, just take AI as the buzzword and the digital candy of right now. As a real practical matter, it's just disaggregating, right? The network disaggregated with 5G. Your iPhone's got 300 apps on it. One of them's called the phone. 20 years ago, we had flip phones. AI is not going to be any different. We'll have 3,000 flavors of AI. Probably won't even be called AI in 2 years. We'll call it something else, but it'll be fundamentally that same thing using a lot of heavyweight chips that need to be cooled.
Yeah, and quantum coming hot on the heels as well. So
One thing's for sure, they aren't making any less cores, and those cores aren't going to consume any less power.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter how much more efficient the chips get, there's still going to be more of them. So liquid's part of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, great segue. You mentioned power, so let's go there next. Surging power demands for data centers and the need for more sustainable energy solutions. This remains a top concern for data center developers. I'm wondering if you can talk about the trends that you're seeing in power and power availability.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, as we look at the landscape, you get into these big, dense metro areas where you've got the big traditional looking data centers that look like Fort Knox, and they got more value probably in them than Fort Knox when you get to what's in those from a software and compute perspective.
Right.
But you've got supply chain headwinds right now, and it doesn't matter what the administration does. Everyone thinks that we're going to get this power surge. You can't just flip a switch and all of a sudden have more kilowatts. It takes time. There's parts that have to get built. But the other part of that too is, where is the power? And if you follow the example of 5G, and what really fundamentally changed from 4G to 5G? Well, the network disaggregated. The central office became less central. That's true with power now, because when you get to AI applications, machine learning is really not so latency sensitive, a lot of storage and whatnot. But when you look at the other applications like generative AI or inference, those need to be near the edge. So it really predicates a different kind of data center, for one, more distributed to follow the 5G example. Get the bits in the storage where the consumers of the bits in the storage are, because you need latency. You also need to have availability, which means you need to have a diverse compute infrastructure. So the power has to start to follow that, and it's a challenge. But that's part of why we also look at liquid cooling as being so very important, because you can't just turn a dial and all of a sudden have more electricity in the world. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And I want to end here by talking today about partnerships. So you're partnering with organizations including Liquid Stack, Excelsius, and Micron. Can you tell us a little bit about the solutions that are coming out of those partnerships?
Absolutely. I mentioned in the beginning, we like to be Geneva and being the purveyor of the digital bullets. So, we're looking for best-in-class partners. ECS, we want to be a complete computing solutions business. And when we look at the various applications, you got to have really good partners. So Liquid Stack is one of our immersion tank partners. We've actually had their tank. That's the one that we started with, and it's a great relationship. Done a few things with their CEO for webinars and whatnot, and we're actively promoting together that technology, and it's a great company. Celsius the same, but they're a directed chip, and they've got a really exciting technology. It's two-phase directed chip where the radiator that sits on top of the compute platform is actually evaporating the fluids inside of the radiator. They call it a vaporator.
Oh,
And the benefit of that is it takes off a lot more heat per device than, say, just water that stays in liquid form the entire time. So,
right.
and then Micron, we've been a long time partner with Micron. We're doing a lot with them on their storage and memory solutions. And I think we got another webinar, another event coming out with them shortly as well. But they've been great, and the list goes on. But you can't be in this business too and not have friends.
Yeah, that's right. And
yeah.
this is, we talked about it, Metro Connect is also a great place to make those friends. So
I've got a
yeah.
I got a stat calendar today with lots of friends, and in and out, but enjoying the show.
Yeah, and a busy travel schedule. This guy's hitting the road. You're going to be all over the place. So
Someone's gotta do it.
yeah. Best of luck, and thank you so much for making time to stop by here. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah,
Have a great day.
absolutely. And to all of our viewers, thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the rest of Metro Connect. Welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am so excited right now to be joined by Jason Adkins. He is the CEO of Bluebird Fiber. We actually discovered what a small world it is. We are from neighboring towns back in Virginia. So, Jason, it's great to meet you and to have you here today.
Thanks for having me. And you forgot to mention it was actually rival high school.
Right.
So we were
That's
from
true.
rival high school. So a little bit of bad blood, but that's all right. We'll let it
Yeah,
go there
go
and
Blue Streaks. I just want to throw
Go-
that out there.
Go Gobblers. So
Yeah. Well, thanks again, Jason, for being here. And I want to talk first about Bluebird Fiber's major rebrand that you underwent in 2024. Can you tell me more about that?
yeah, we decided to freshen up the brand a little bit. We're a 25-year-old company that had went through a name change previously to Bluebird Network a few years ago. As you know, it's nice to rebrand, come up with something a little fresh, give the market something new to look at. And we really felt strongly about having fiber in the name. Bluebird Network was a good name. We have fiber and data centers, but we are mostly a connectivity company. So letting the market know that we're fiber based, that we really value fiber, and like we always say, fiber always wins. So we just put it in our name.
Excellent. And tell me, what is your operating footprint right now? We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah,
but
so we're headquartered in Kansas City, and we really run from Kansas all the way through Missouri, most of the towns there, Illinois, and the eastern part of Iowa. So we have a really nice tier 2, tier 3 footprint right in the middle of the country where, frankly, we find a lot of folks are underserved and can use as much fiber as they can. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I want to talk next about growth. So that's a great segue. So what do Bluebird's growth projections look like in 2025? Where are you building in the year ahead?
Yeah, so we're only business focused, so business, carrier, schools, and libraries. So we don't do any residential service. So really, we just look to continue to grow off of our network. Very focused on organic growth, and we have over 70,000 near net buildings. So we've got a lot of room that we've got a lot of customers we can find with just or build to with just a quarter mile or a half a mile of fiber. We also look for big anchor tenants. We do have a lot of folks coming to us, whether it's wireless carriers or hyperscalers, saying, let's go build to this data center, let's do that. So we're certainly looking at that. Selectively, if the right M&A came up that was sort of adjacent to our footprint or one state over, we take a look at that. But generally, we're focused on treating our customers really well and just continuing to build fiber off what we have.
Excellent. Great. Thank you for sharing that. I want to talk next about sustainability. So how is Bluebird Fiber integrating sustainable practices into your operations and the expansions that you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, it's something we always focus on. We're owned by Macquarie, so we have a lot of sustainability and ESG targets we look at. We actually operate an underground data center, which is really cool.
That's
so in itself, you're using the Earth's natural temperature to cool that data center. So that's really neat. We've looked at ways to do that. Very efficient data center, plus really cool to take customers to. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
And then on everything else, right? Like we have a couple of Teslas in the fleet. We're always looking at ways to continue to look and meet sustainability goals, because at the end of the day, we've got one Earth here, so we all want to make it a good place to live.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to get an invite to that data center. Where is it? The underground data center. Where did you say it's located?
It's in Springfield, Missouri, so it's in the southern part of our thing, and it's just as cool as it sounds. It's carved out of an old limestone mine. And we take a lot of customers through there and take a lot of school tours and other things. It's a pretty neat facility.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, finally, as the industry continues to evolve, what do you see as the biggest opportunities and challenges for fiber providers in the coming years?
Yeah, I think for an enterprise, carrier-based fiber provider like us, right, it's just continuing to do what's right. We're in that nice middle spot where we're not a small provider, but we're also not a large tier 1 provider. So folks can call or knock, get somebody on the phone quickly. They know their sales reps. We have local teams. Some of this is just continuing to find ways to drive growth, right?
Yeah.
And like I said, take care of the customers. Hyperscalers are constantly calling us, as I mentioned earlier, looking to build the data centers and other things. So balancing that really big sort of one-time demand with just taking care of the local law firm or the local car dealer and other things. But we've got a great operations team. We've got a great sales team. So we feel really confident about continuing to do that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing more about Bluebird Fiber with us today. It was great to meet you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate
Yeah,
it. So-
absolutely. And to our viewers, thanks for sticking with us here at Metro Connect, and happy networking. Hey, welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer from JSA. I am joined right now by Benjamin Von Sieger. He is the CEO of BVS Group. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to be here.
Yeah,
Finally.
I know. I'm excited to hear more about BVS Group. So that's where I want to start. Can you tell us more about your areas of focus and how you support businesses navigating today's digital infrastructure landscape?
Absolutely. So, with my background in the digital infrastructure spanning 25 years in 4 big exits that I did, we are looking at a brand new chapter. We have artificial intelligence, we have a huge demand in power. So, my role is advising the industry leader. So, I work very closely with a lot of venture capitalists. I'm extremely conservative when it comes to return on investment, so investors love me. I do also work with the data centers. I also do site selections. I also do this at the global level. So I travel quite a bit, over 4 million miles in the last few years. And we are looking at how we can improve the ESG for our sector. Meaning, if we look in Europe, we have environmental sustainability governance, GDPR, data residency. United States, we have California. So we pollute a lot. We are building a lot of data centers. There are more to come in the near future. I know that artificial intelligence kind of intrigued the market more. We've seen what happened with DeepSeek. We've seen what happened with some cancellations from Microsoft. So here's where the experts are coming in. We've seen last year a lot of influx of people coming into our industry. Now it's like, okay, the house is on fire. We can move the furniture. The professionals have to come in. So this is where we excel because we know how to do risk assessment. We know how to assess what's going to happen with AI. Is this DeepSeek going to put a ripple effect, a domino effect in the industry? I believe not. I believe short term we saw cancellation from Microsoft, but we have one major issue that we're all trying to resolve together, and that's power. We have to figure out how to deliver the power because no matter where this industry is going to go, we're still going to have to build the data centers.
Yeah, absolutely. You sound like a helpful guy to have in the back pocket for digital
I hope
infrastructure
so.
operators. You know a lot about a lot, and you know the trending topics. So yeah,
Yes.
thank you for that
So,
overview.
and we have to
Yeah.
look at I know nobody wants to get political on this one, but the tariffs are here to stay. DeepSeek is here to stay. So now the people that have done this in the past and they know to look for revenue somewhere else, if this revenue is going to be paused. But again, I still believe that as long as we have the power available, we're still going to build. But now we have to do risk assessment and we have to go from charging $20 million per megawatt. Now with tariffs, maybe I'm going to look at $25 to $28 million per megawatt. So this is where Christmas Day I had conference calls because after the election, everybody was okay. So how this is going to impact our sector?
Right.
What you guys did after .com crash, after September 11, after 2008, after the COVID. So I
Yeah.
sustained 4 major events that no one had control over it,
Yeah.
and we still came out successful on top. So it is a lot of hard work, but I'm extremely excited because the industry has now a lot of professionals. There are a lot of professionals in the enterprise market where we don't have to go and train them and teach them. Now they know. Now
Yeah.
we have to go straight in meetings and we have to make sure that we move this forward because a lot of people that don't understand probably are watching this. Everything that you do today is going through a data center. Every
Yeah.
picture that you take, every X-ray that you take, every CT scan at your doctor's office, it's ending up in one of our data centers.
Yep, absolutely. And I want to touch on scaling from there. I feel like this is a
Perfect.
good segue. Yeah.
To-
So companies need to scale efficiently while staying competitive. And I'm curious, what common challenges do you see businesses facing when it comes to growth and strategy? And how does BVS Group
So,
solve
as I
that?
just mentioned, the main challenge right now that we have globally is
Yeah.
the power.
Mhm.
So, we have statistics from CBR Richard Ellis and from JLL where we clearly see that right now the Internet of Things, the digital infrastructure space is using 1% of the power globally. We have over 11,000 data centers globally that are registered with CBR Richard Ellis. Those are real data centers with multiple customers, with multiple networks. Alone in the United States, there are 5,300 data centers, and we're still falling short. So we need to scale in a smart way. And that's what I'm saying, build Rome and wait for them to come. We did this model 25 years ago, and Equinix and Terramar at the time almost failed. So I learned from my mistakes, and I would suggest to everyone that you build first once you have 50% on the contract and you have a reliable tenant. What we
Yeah.
don't want to see, we don't want to see what happened in 2004, in 2008, and before the pandemic, where we have a bunch of empty boxes across the globe, and they're being picked up for 10 cents to the dollar. So
Right.
again, coming back to the geopolitical spectrum, the tariffs, the deep sea, because those are the hottest subjects around the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
I still believe that the progress is there. We just have to be very, very smart the way we build. And the good news is that the equipment that we use in the industry right now is much more powerful than it was 5 or 10 years ago.
Yep.
That's why we see a lot of spillover into the edge markets. 10 years ago, we'll never build data center outside of Atlanta, outside of Austin. Now we have to do that. Why? Because I have the power of it. So as moment we have power, we have gold. And then around it, you need people like me that have been in the industry for a very long time. They know how to find revenue. So for example, if AI is going to slow down for the next 6 to 9 months, you got to move quickly into enterprise. You got to move into the federal sector. Political or not, the new administration is very, very clearly heavily behind the data centers. So they already announced 180 billion investment plus the Stargate, which is another 500 billion. So all these are going to be built by the people that are in these rooms.
Yes.
Because they're going to come to us, the experts. So are we going to see a slowdown for the next 60 to 90 days? Probably, but looking forward and looking at what Mark Gans and all the other colleagues in the industry said, we are still absorbing over 2 gig a year. Alone in 2023, Virginia absorbed over almost 3,000 megawatts.
Wow.
Just to give them perspective, the next city was Beijing with 1,600 megawatts, and the third place was London with 1,200. I don't have the numbers for 2024, but we are on track to like Mark Ganzi said, this is a one-time opportunity, and I'm extremely excited to work with my colleagues because now we are literally solving problems for the future.
Yes. And one of those problems that I want to talk about is AI, because we haven't really dove into AI yet. So I want to ask you your thoughts on that. It's reshaping how organizations approach strategy and operations. How do you see AI influencing leadership decisions and business models in the infrastructure sector?
So AI is the latest boom, and as I said, I believe strongly that it's a one-time opportunity in our lifetime because, like the industrial revolution, AI is going to change. Already has the way we interact, the way we build. So I'm doing personally right now, for example, a very large project outside of Atlanta is going to be over 1.7 gig. I have 2 others in the funnel that are over 2 gigawatts. We're going to start seeing the eco-scale data centers. And it's very impressive that a lot of companies that used to build office buildings, different infrastructure, airports like Schweier Construction, for example, they are coming into this industry to help us out because we are running behind. I mean, just if you look at the numbers for United States, we have all these data centers that have been announced in the top markets, Atlanta, Dallas, Northern Virginia, Chicago, New York, Santa Clara. 86% of those are already pre-sold. And we haven't even broke ground to do anything with them.
Yeah.
So I know that a lot of people are skeptical, oh, this is the end of it. Well, just because an app came out to the market and they say they can do what they say they can do, there are still so many other applications that have to be developed and deployed over artificial intelligence in all the verticals, from medical to financial to the media, that is going to require NVIDIA, that is going to require cooling with water, that is going to require what we build. So 5 years ago, you say I built a data center with 5 megawatts, 10 megawatts. Now I'm having meetings with 2 gigawatts, and I was involved in the last 18 months on a project that was 24 megawatts all the way up to 3.5 gigawatts in Dubai.
Yeah.
And we have to look for power. We have to look for, and the one thing that I really like about this, because this gets me very creative. I'm originally German, but I spend a lot of time here. I would like to see a little bit more about environment, because we consume the power, we pollute a lot, but it's extremely interesting at the moment. There are so many companies that are coming with ideas to produce lithium batteries. You see deals that have been done in the industry. We can talk about this live public with Geosystems when Meta got 150 megawatts in Reno, Nevada. Yeah. If I would tell you 5 years ago we're going to build a data center in Reno, Nevada, Ben, you're totally crazy, out of your mind. But now we're going there. Why? Because they control the power. They're going to be. You're always going to be connected to the grid. We do not want to overlast the grid, because again, Mark Ganzi said 2 years ago, in 18 months, we're going to run out of power. The 18 months are up by the end of this year. So this year, it's breaking point. So seeing ideas that we have never seen in the industry. So me getting creative and advising data centers to use the cold water from the Atlantic and push the heat from the data center in the homes of the people. So we have to integrate those data centers where people understand that as important as an airport, that's what a data center does for us right now. So, and there is no way to go back.
Yeah.
So, in building this AI infrastructure, I firmly believe that this is going to help us excel and probably move above and beyond. So, there are also questions on how we can store permanent data on the moon or on other planets. So, this is I know it sounds futuristic, but it's coming.
Yeah.
It is coming because we develop sources where we can have lithium batteries that are the size of a credit card. They can power an entire house. We have solar power, we have wind, we have geothermal, we have
The
dams.
future is
We are
here.
trying.
Yeah.
We are trying to find every kilowatt of power wherever we can find it, and as clean as we can produce it, the better.
Yes. Thank you so much. What wonderful insights that you've shared
Thank
here
you so
today.
much for having me. I
Thank
really
you for
appreciate
being
it.
here. Yeah, it's great
Yes,
to meet you.
great.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You guys have a great show. Thank you
Yeah,
guys.
you as well. And to all of our viewers, thanks for tuning in and have a great Metro Connect.
Thank you very much.
Hey, welcome back to JSA TV, where we are reporting live on stories and trends from Metro Connect 2025. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA. I am joined right now by Jonathan Restivo. He is the Chief Development Officer for Cityside Fiber. Jonathan, thank you so much for being here.
No, thanks for having me. Great to be back.
Yeah, and I want to start with some recent exciting news that you have. So you expanded in Orange County, and I would love to hear more about that.
Yeah, so we just opened 3 new markets after a lot of development over the last year plus. So we were excited to launch our first neighborhoods in Irvine, which is where we're headquartered, kind of the center of Orange County, which is an awesome thing for us. We got a great relationship with the city there, and more to come there. So able to bring on our first customers there, and then Lake Forest and Mission Viejo as well, two bedrock communities for us in the center of Orange County. So those are now serviceable as well in our first neighborhoods there. So yeah, we've added a lot of serviceable addresses over the last over the last 30 days. It's been significant growth there, and we've got a lot more to come. In our existing markets of Tustin and North Tustin and Dana Point. So a lot of great activity there, a lot of expansion in our home territory in Orange County. And then we were also able to announce our next city, which is in design right now and going into permitting, which is Laguna Hills, also in that central Orange County area. So a lot of exciting stuff for us, a lot of exciting stuff for the for the region. We're continuing to grow and work with more cities, and we'll have some more announcements most likely coming up later this spring.
That's awesome. Everybody stay tuned. More expansion coming for Cityside Fiber. That's great. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, what sets Cityside Fiber service apart from other providers, and how do you ensure best-in-class internet experience for residents?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the core of what we do. We can build fiber, and that's an incredible technology, and it provides, a better internet experience from the technical side. It's more reliable, it's faster, all of those things, and those are obviously incredibly important to us, and how successful we are. But we've from day one kind of focused on the customer experience side of that. So yes, better internet, better reliability. But for us, it's really how we treat the customer, cool things that we can do for them. Being local, having that local presence is a big piece of that. I think we've earned ourselves a lot of grace from residents that are excited that we're there. They understand that we're relatively new and still working out some kinks, but that we're trying. And I think that they realize that we care and we're trying to do this for the community. And so so it's been incredible. The welcome that we've received, the excitement that folks have, to have an employee, base, our staff in our HQ in Irvine and at our field offices. Everyone's super excited about what we're doing and the growth there, and able to provide that next level of service. We got really great CSAT scores and shout outs for our installers and our customer service folks for all the cool stuff that they're doing. So so really for us, it's that's how we kind of differentiate, and really distinguish ourselves from legacy cable companies, from the ILEC, which is AT&T in this case. Right. Just showing that we're different, that we care, that we're local, we're a part of the community. We sponsor all sorts of youth sports, which is like a big thing for me. We do a lot with different charities.
And that really does make a difference, because I talked to you earlier and I asked if you lived in Orange County. You do. So you're the person who also gets this service. And it does make a difference when the people serving you live in the community, because you're also the beneficiaries of this network and you want to get it right for your neighbors.
Yeah, I think that's right. There's also a level of accountability there that, we can't hide in a corporate HQ, several states away. Right. Our HQ is right there. We live and work in the same, in the same neighborhoods that we're serving. You'll see us now. We're starting to get stuff where people wear our swag out, and we'll get comments that I saw you at the gym, or I saw you at the grocery store, or something like that, and so yeah, it's all part of that growth, which is really exciting. It's a challenge, right? It's very difficult doing what we're doing. Building in California is really tough, but we got great relationships with city leaders and public works staff. And we've really got a lot of buy-in from the county, kind of across the board, and so yeah, we're excited to keep doing our thing. Build faster and continue to provide that best in class experience that sets us apart.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing those differentiators with us. And then finally, I'm just curious how the show is going for you. How's Metro Connect 2025 treating you? You having a lot of good meetings while you're here?
Yeah, nonstop on the meetings. It's great. This is I think this is our third show here at the Marriott, and it just continues to get bigger. The space available for sit downs and meetings and laptop space is it's prime real estate.
It's at a premium, yeah.
But it's awesome because there's this buzz. There's always a buzz here. It's basically everyone within the industry, from the service providers, the banks, the PE firms, the support services. Everyone's here, right? So you can kind of be able to set up meetings all kind of at once, almost like speed dating.
Right.
And be able to connect with so many different people and hear more about the industry and generate awesome ideas. Form relationships and hopefully future partnerships with folks. So yeah, it's another incredible show. Going right from this right into a meeting over there, and then more from there. So it's like, yeah, it's awesome. It's a great spot, and we really fill up the calendar and are able to form really good relationships and continue to grow those. And the industry continues to grow, and it's exciting. And yeah, it's a good time to be here.
Awesome. Yeah, nonstop, like you said. So we'll get you out of here so you can get on to that next meeting. But thank you for making time for us and for stopping by to tell us about Cityside Fiber's latest projects. We appreciate it.
No, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. And to our viewers, thanks for tuning in here at Metro Connect 2025, and happy networking. Hey, welcome back to JSA TV at Metro Connect 2025. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA. We're here covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. I am joined by one of them right now, Inga Turner. Thank you so much for joining us. She is the Global Account Manager for the London Internet Exchange. Inga, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'm really excited to talk to you today more about links, and I just want you to start, maybe if you can, for viewers who might not know. Tell us more about links.
Sure. So it's Links, the London Internet Exchange. I just thought I'd just point out we are a global exchange point, so we have a number of points across the world. One of them being in North America, Links Nova in Ashburn, Africa, the Middle East, and of course the UK.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for that overview. And then I want to talk a little bit more about a new point of presence that you recently launched in Mombasa, and you got to travel there. So I'm excited to hear more about that.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So we launched Nairobi in 2024, and we've extended our presence in Kenya to Mombasa. Links Mombasa was launched last week, so it's a very new up and coming exchange. Yes, and I was very lucky enough to be part of that, the launch.
That's excellent. Are there any key features of that facility that you want to share?
So
with
Mombasa
us?
being a leading connectivity site, a number of the submarine cables actually land, and a number of the content providers are already in Mombasa. So it's just to enhance that ecosystem, attracting and help the community to connect over our exchange.
Yes, excellent. Well, congratulations on that project. That's very exciting, very recent.
Very exciting.
That's good. And then you have another project that I wanted to talk about, and that is a refresh on some equipment in Virginia. So I'm hoping you can tell us about that.
So our exchange in Virginia is 10 years old. Links Nova, we're situated in 5 of the data centers across Data Center Alley, isn't it? So there's Equinix, Digital Realty, Core Site, Iron Mountain, and QTS. And we recently undertook quite a large project of refreshing all our equipment to Nokia. So our engineering team have been very busy, and have just recently finished that. Yes, so exciting times again also for Nova, and being 10 years old last year, Links Nova.
Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah. Well, happy anniversary.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. And now I just want to hear more. So related to these two new announcements, I think you have some specific networking goals for Metro Connect this week.
Definitely.
So tell people, who are you hoping to meet with? What are your goals?
So ultimately for North America Links, I would like to raise the profile of Nova in Ashburn. We have 55 participants on the exchange, a number of large content delivery networks, and I'm looking for access networks. I'm looking for that middle mile, the long tail, if you can say. And so just, please, remember us when you're looking for your connectivity needs as an internet exchange. We offer potentially reduced costs, lower latency, and security of traffic.
Yes, and despite the name, you are global.
We are global.
Links is global. You heard it here. So keep that in mind.
I always that's one of the first things, because people always look, Links London, and I said, well, we're actually a global exchange. Yes. But Links itself is a not-for-profit membership organisation, started 30 years ago, and it was ultimately to assist, probably the access networks in the UK who were sending traffic across the pond to the US to bring down prices and to make that traffic closer to home. And that's actually what we've done in the UK, and our exchange in the US as well. It's a local traffic. It's not back to the UK. It's a standalone satellite exchange.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Thank you for making time to be here.
No, thank you. And please, reach out. I'd love to connect.
Yes, please reach out to Inga. Inga, thanks again for being here.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, thanks for tuning in here at Metro Connect, and stay connected and happy networking. Welcome to JSA TV, where we are having conversations with leaders in digital infrastructure about the stories, innovations, and trends happening here at Metro Connect 2025. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I'm really excited to talk to our next guest, Manny Vivar. He is the CEO and founder of HostTime. Manny, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Emily. Appreciate you sitting down with me.
Absolutely. And so I'm really excited about talking to you because you have such an interesting backstory. How you came into the industry is really interesting. So I'm wondering if you can share that with our viewers.
Yeah, absolutely. I say that we kind of stumbled into the industry by accident. I was an aspiring commercial pilot, and I went to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Florida. And when I was in junior, in school, they used to have a IT closet, mini data center, and one of the first kind of like tasks my IT director said, "Hey, who can figure out how to store some of this data offsite?" So I kind of raised my hand. I was like, "I don't know, but I can probably figure it out," because I love fascinated by it, and I found a data center. The OU industry, veterans will know there's a legacy data center in New Jersey called Network Access Center. I rented, little space in a rack there for $60. Turned it around, deployed it for the school for $200, and that was kind of like my seed money. And from there, I was fascinated with, providing that to the school. Kind of set up the infancy of what HostTime is today. Back in 2003, suddenly we're getting customers left and right on the website. Created this whole back end automation where they were being deployed, and Google back then honestly was very easy to rank top 5. So I kind of reverse engineered the algorithm and was, kind of like number one in data, kind of hosting type of deal. And at the peak of it, we were getting like 250 customers a day, which was insane. Continue to roll that cash, you know, got up to about 50 racks in the data center in New Jersey. And then I was, spending so much paying them. I was like, I can use this money and build my own kind of data center. So we started out in Orlando in 2003 and, rented some space in a building, build out the infrastructure, use that cash flow, build out in Brazil, use that cash flow, build out in Mexico, use that cash flow, build out Colombia. And it's been an amazing, obviously the industry has exploded, and for us it's always been about serving markets that are underserved, and it's just been really an amazing journey. I've always been passionate about tech, and I think we really stumbled down on something that we love doing and we're good at, and I think it's win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it is. I mean, just to emphasize what you just said, you started with $60 because I think
Yes.
sometimes people think about digital infrastructure and think that these are massive companies. You
Yeah.
have to have millions and millions of dollars to even get started or to run a data center. And the fact that you started with $60,
Yes,
and you're here.
it's honestly
fascinating.
mind-boggling to me, and it's humbling, because it's like if it's very hard. It has been very hard, very challenging to do it. I feel like we've done it the hard way. So as you can imagine, it's like, how do you get from 60 to a platform like this? I say you roll up your sleeves. We kind of self-perform a lot of the work. We act as as operators, developers, and basically capital funders. So it's extremely hard, but it's I think that comes with kind of like the territory. We loved what we do and we had to figure it out. So I think we've kind of stretched out what's the meaning of efficiency of capital, but yeah, it's I think it's been such an amazing journey that it's like it's like, wow, like if you give me 60,000, I don't think we could do it again. A lot of stuff had to align at the right time, because to say like go build a global business without being in these countries, like it's humbling, but I think it's that kind of goes with alignment. Like, we were meant to be, like we were meant to do this, given our background, our understanding of the market, and being in a space that's very high capex, but it's possible, I think, and I think we led with purpose and passion, and I think everything else kind of came together.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. One of my professors who actually, maybe he's tuned in, used to say,
Yeah.
do what you love and the money will follow. And that's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah,
right now,
honestly,
right? It's like you had a passion for it.
We did, and honestly, I never saw this long term, and I think, we were in the space early on, being in other data centers, and then we picked up that a lot of the data centers that we were in were like old telecom facilities, not trying to devalue their purpose, but I think that's where Hostan came in, like, hey, like we need to be building stuff better, and I think, that purpose felt like of us building the next generation of data centers, and we sit in a very kind of unique space where we call it hyper edge. 3 to 10 megawatts. I think our sweet spot is, 2 megawatts on under deployments, because, we love serving that ecosystem, going into markets that are underserved, and then build in that I call Penn Station effect with the carriers. They penetrate the market, the content gets served locally, and then you also have, hyperscalers or applications who need to serve in the market, serve that really well, and then you also give opportunity to the market. I think, Colombians, Brazilians, Peruvians, I mean, every country, if you have the right tools and infrastructure, it will foster, and I think that feels very aligned, because knowing that my family immigrated to this country legally, now we can bring that the jobs and the impact in these countries. Like, I think that's very beautiful, and I think, it serves everything, and it just feels very, aligned.
Yeah, and you've touched on this, so yeah, just to make it clear for viewers as well. So you are headquartered in Florida,
Yeah.
but you service a lot of different markets.
Yeah, so obviously Orlando is where we kind of were born, I call it. So, we're wrapping up building a brand new tier 4, hyper edge facility that'll serve the market really well, and then actually kind of like as a launch pad for us, because we have customers everywhere, and then some of them don't need in-country data, so then they can use that facility there. But yeah, obviously, that's kind of like headquartered there, and we operate a unique structure where we are U.S. Holding company with international footprint, and a structure that rolls everything up. So a lot of our customers like that, because they don't have to deal with the bureaucracy or the creating entities in these countries, but we can service you anywhere. So anywhere from applications to AI to blockchain to streaming. I mean, we talk a big spectrum. We have about 8,000 customers on an entire platform. And we like I said, 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt sub customers, 20 kilowatt, 30 kilowatt, even down to the rack level. We serve it really well, I feel, and we don't have high concentration of customers, and we're very relationship based. A lot of our customers like that they can do, one relationship in the US and then do multiple entities without having to deal like I said, creating entities in these countries. Yeah.
Right. Excellent. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
And then you're also expanding in Peru, so I would love to hear about that project.
Yeah,
as well.
Peru is honestly a market we're very gun ho about. We have a lot of customers that are existing customers in our facility in Florida right now that have demand in Peru. We also have a pipeline of customers that that we keep here in Peru, and we use internet penetration as another data point. It's been a long time coming. We already have land options that we're hoping to execute this year and start building next year. Love that market, and again, it's underserved. And we're excited to definitely bring that sort of infrastructure that that is lacked in the country, not just for the locals, the local businesses, but also for people who are trying to bring content in the country. There's a ton of opportunity there, and we're looking to serve both the front end I called and the back end.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that.
Thank
That's going
you.
to be a really exciting build out. So, yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. And then finally, I got to ask you about the orange. We've got, is this your laptop up here with all the orange on it?
Yeah.
It's a color you're wearing. We've been calling it guerrilla marketing.
Yeah.
Tell us, why is that the color of Host?
I say we bleed orange, honestly. I say orange picked us, to be honest with you. We never picked orange ever since we kind of Hostem was born. I remember there was an agency that we hired to create the logo, and they created like this orange logo, and it was like, this is us, and from there, it's been phenomenal. It's been a very differentiator for us, but I feel like orange is it's a good color of mix of, hey, I'm present, but it's more like, it's very genuine, for those who believe in the science of colors. I think orange emits, positivity and a lot of great other characters that are resemblance of Hostime. And somebody actually told me recently, which I didn't even know, we've been in Orlando since 2003. We're actually headquartered in Orange County. And it was like, okay, this is meant to be, like,
it's all meant to be.
And, it just emits our culture. It emits opportunity. It emits passion. It emits all the things that Hostam represents. And I think it's more like, hey, we're here, and we're orange, and this is Hostam.
Yeah, I love it. Well, it's
Yeah.
easy to find Manny here at Metro Connect
Yeah.
because just look for the guy in the orange. And Manny, thank you so much for your time and for stopping by. I really
Thank you so
appreciate
much.
it.
I appreciate you guys covering the event really well, and look forward to seeing your other videos.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. And to our viewers, thanks for tuning in here at Metro Connect 2025 and happy networking.
See you guys.
Bye. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to JSA TV at Metro Connect 2025. We are here covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am joined right now by Rick Fernandez. He is the Executive Director for the Fiber Broadband Business Unit at CSG International. So thank you, Rick, so much for being here.
Glad to be here. Thank you for the time. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So for our viewers who might not know about CSG, I would love to just start by hearing a little bit more about the company and what you do.
Yeah, sure. CSG is a big player in the telecom market. In particular, we're in the would say it's customer experience space. So we manage everything from billing and care to customer experience to payments, all those types of things that really relate to delivering big services and enterprise services to a lot of larger players in the market. For us, looking at North America, we manage about 80% of the broadband market in terms of cable billing and care. And that's really where we are really excited about what's happening in the fiber space. We're seeing a huge opportunity here because of some of the heritage and the history that we have. We went through a large part of the consolidation that happened back in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s as companies were investing in that space. We were there to help our customers grow, deal with scaling and that type of thing. And we're seeing the exact same type of an opportunity with fiber and the emergence of fiber opportunities across not just the U.S., but across the world.
Excellent. Well, thank you for sharing that background with us.
Yeah.
And I think people do know CSG International a lot from your work, as you mentioned, with large players like Cox and Charter and the Dishes of the world. But can you tell us more about how you scale for providers of all sizes? Because it's not just the huge providers.
Right. And I think that's a big key to it is we understand the business. We understand what our customers are looking for, and it's because we've been with them every step of the way. So think about a Charter or a Comcast. We were with them as they grew up and kind of got to a point where they consolidated into those larger companies, and we're really looked at as a trusted partner with them. And we like to look at it and say we can be the same way if it's a 30 million subscriber type of a customer down to someone who has 25,000, 50,000 subscribers. We scale up or down, and the reason we're able to do that is because technology-wise we're built to do that, but we're also meant to be a partner with our customers. So we're as interested in their growth and their success as they are. So we want to be on the ground floor, so to speak, and be with them as they grow. So can we bring additional technologies to the table? Can we bring our expertise and actually learn from them as well? We do look at it as being a business partner with them. So our ability to go in and say for a small operator that's looking to get a little bit more market share, we know how to not only get them through the initial phases, but also be positioned to grow.
Right. And testament to that is Comcast, as you mentioned. So
yeah.
they were once smaller, and
Right.
you've been a part of that journey. So
Right.
thank you for sharing that information. Yeah. And now you have a new partnership that I want to talk about. It is a public cloud, solution that you're working on.
Right.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so looking at it, we understand how important it is to be looking from a technology perspective to be on the forefront. And it's not just having technology there, but it's bringing solutions and business solutions together. So CSG Fiber as a solution is a bringing together a few key points. So think about it from a public cloud billing and care perspective, but also payments is important because you want to bring subscribers on as fast as you can and get them as paying customers. And then also installation. So from a field service management point of view, being able to bring those three pieces together and offer it up at a price point and a go-to-market point that allows a lot of these customers to come in, get off the ground, and also be positioned for that growth. And what we've been saying at the show here over the last couple of days here is we want you to go from good to great. So if it's an existing smaller operator that's looking to say, I've got some challenges, we can take aspects of that solution. If it's field service management, if it's payments, we have a Forte application that does payments and acquire solutions for our customers. If it's billing and care, we can bring all of that to the table and really be at a point where you're not worrying about integrations, you're not worrying about how do I scale. We're there to help you do that. So we're taking our understanding, experience, history in markets like cable as they emerged over the last several decades, and we're seeing again that opportunity, and we want to make sure that we're there to help our customers do that. We look at customer success customer experience as paramount as things that we're here to help them achieve. So
Yeah, and you said something that I loved. You said to help them go from good to great. So that is what CSG International is here to do. Yeah.
And you think about it's one thing to say you're in the market and then you realize I'm about to make this leap. I'm going to go from 50,000 subs to 100,000 subs to 500,000 subs. It may be initially you're in a good spot from a technology point of view.
Yeah.
Those elements, as they scale, will tend to open up potential problem areas, and we know where those problems are.
Right.
And we want to make sure that you're thinking about growing the business, not having to swap out technologies. Now, if that has to happen, we have a huge background and a lot of experience on migration. So if you're on an existing system and you realize you've got to move, our professional services aspects that we have within the company do this day in and day out.
Yeah.
As we migrate to platforms that not only you get through that migration, but you're in a position again to scale and grow.
Right. Great. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing more about CSG International today. Yeah, appreciate your time.
Have a good rest of the show.
Yeah.
Great spending some time with you.
Yeah, you as well. And to everybody who's tuned in, hope you all enjoy the rest of Metro Connect 2025 as well. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, welcome back to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. I am here at Metro Connect 2025, joined by Dale Knipp. He is the SVP of Business for Alaska Communications. Dale, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me here. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you as well. And I think to begin today, I would just love to hear a little bit more about what Alaska Communications does for our viewers who might not be as familiar.
Sure. Alaska Communications is a telecom company in the state of Alaska. We also have networks in the Pacific Northwest. We serve customers ranging from on the consumer side of the business to wholesale, federal agencies, Department of Defense, enterprises, and small and medium businesses.
Excellent. And can you tell me a little bit more about your role there as well?
Yes, so I lead the business and wholesale organization. So I'm responsible for the revenue growth of the business across federal, wholesale, carrier, and also the enterprise and small and medium business segments.
Excellent. Great. And I heard an interesting fact that I want to bring up recently. So you have a long commute to get to your job. So where are you living right now? And how often are you going into the office?
Yeah, I live in Denver, Colorado. Yeah. And so I've got a 6-hour commute to Anchorage, and I go there 2 to 4 times a month, depending on the month. I get a lot of reading in, a lot of Netflix, and it helps me catch up on emails. But it's, I'm thankful to actually have the opportunity to go to Alaska. It's a truly special place.
Yeah, I'm sure it's beautiful. I've never been before. And as somebody who works remotely, I hear about that commute and it scares me, but good for you. It doesn't turn you off from working in Alaska.
That's right.
So that's great. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Now, what separates Alaska from other providers? What's your unique selling proposition?
The thing that really struck me about Alaska and ACS in particular when I joined was the people. They're just hardworking. They understand our customers. They understand our market. And our market is so unique and different than anything I've ever seen in the lower 48. Very complex, and just the requirements are so different because of the massive geographical range that we have to cover.
Right.
It just creates a lot of unique situations, and our people just consistently over deliver. And like just an example, like in Fairbanks, you may have to be working outside in negative 40-degree weather.
Wow.
And it's just remarkable that our teams go out there, they do it, and they serve our customers, and they're excited to do it. So I think that's a huge differentiator for us. The other thing I'll share, and it's interesting, we like to call ourselves the easy button for Alaska. And
Love
so we're 6 hours away from the lower 48, at least from Denver. And a lot of our partners are carriers and operators that have huge contracts with, say, the federal government, companies like Amazon, big international corporations who have operations in Alaska, but these operators don't have network in Alaska. So we're the easy button for them because they partner with us and we help deliver services for their customers locally in the state. The other thing that we like to tell our customers who are enterprise customers or small and medium business customers in Alaska is that we're the gateway of technology for them. And what we mean by that is we have an ability to bring partners. We have a large partner ecosystem that we bring to the state, whether it's working in areas such as cloud, data, remote infrastructure management, telehealth solutions. There's a myriad of things that we bring to the state through our partner network that we think brings a lot of value to our customers.
Excellent. It's always great to have a good partner ecosystem. And I love what you said about the easy button. So that's a good way to think about what you're providing for those who might not have network in Alaska.
That's right.
So, yeah. Excellent. Now, I want to know what is on the horizon for Alaska Communications. What can partners and clients look forward to from you in the month or the year ahead?
Yeah, thanks for asking that question. We are super excited about our network plan. We have a massive network transformation that we're undergoing. It's going to make our network more resilient, more redundancy, and more powerful for the customers and the wholesale, consumer, and enterprise sides of the business. We have some fun launches that we're bringing to the SMB market. This week actually, we're launching our Microsoft Teams bundle for our SMB subscribers. Thank you.
Yeah.
We had a fixed wireless trial, and that was very successful. And now we're looking at bringing that to more markets across the state. And we're partnering with a couple companies in the cloud and data center space, bringing some new capabilities and technologies around cloud, data, and AI to some of our largest customers. So we've got a lot going on,
Yeah,
and
quite a
we're
bit.
pretty excited about it.
Yeah, good. Well, congratulations on all of that. It sounds
Thank you.
like you're going to have a busy 2025 to be sure.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's good. Well, tell me about Metro Connect. What brings you here? Why is this the show that you decided to come to? And any highlights so far? Any panels you've seen or conversations you've had that stand out?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is actually my first Metro Connect. So I've been to a ton of shows. This has been a fantastic one. We've seen a ton of clients, which has been very fruitful. A lot of partners, and so it's been great to line up our plans and strategies. And this has been a really nice event to connect with them in a pretty meaningful way. And then, just some of the speakers have been really insightful. So a couple of the ones that I've sat in on have been more focused on cyber. We're doing some things in this area, trying to connect with partners and learn about this and what we can bring to Alaska. And so some of those sessions I've sat in have been insightful, and most importantly, they've given me some actions that I'm taking away to bring to ACS, just to embolden our portfolio a little bit. So it's been great.
Excellent. So sounds like a great event so far, and still a lot of time that we have here. We've got the whole afternoon and tomorrow yet.
That's
so
right.
Hope you enjoy the rest of the event,
Thank
and we're
you.
glad that you made time to stop by here. Thank you.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Take
absolutely.
care.
And to our viewers, enjoy the rest of Metro Connect 2025 and happy networking. Welcome to JSA TV, where we're covering the latest stories, trends, and innovations with leaders in digital infrastructure. My name is Emily Scherer for JSA, and I am pleased right now to be joined by Michael Brady. He's the Chief Revenue Officer of Conterra Networks, and also Chris Harris. He's the Chief Network and Cybersecurity Officer. So thank you both for joining me here today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, so to start off, for those who might not know Conterra Networks, can you share, Chris, maybe a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Organically, we started about 24 years ago as a multi-point, and it got into fixed wireless, and then adapted in the late 2012-ish timeframe into fiber, and started to overbuild some of our markets, and now we've grown to about 15,000 route miles that we operate through. Majority is North Carolina, Louisiana, and strategic parts of Texas, a little bit of southern New Mexico. That's our main core. And we have some island markets around in different states as well that we've picked up. Primarily driven through K-12 and wireless carriers back in that time frame, and now really branching off into enterprise and monetizing the asset and really driving our growth in the core markets.
Excellent. That's a very large footprint. Yeah, thank you for sharing that background with us. And I want to talk a little bit also about your relationships and your partnerships. So, Michael, if you could tell me a little bit about your relationship with APG and Fiera Infrastructure. How have these relationships supported your expansion and driven long-term success for Conterra Networks?
Yeah, so APG and Fiera are infrastructure funds themselves. So they actually are our sponsors. And we left the PE world and then went into the infrastructure world. What that really means is they're long-term investors, and they provide us with the amount of capital we need to grow the business at the rate that we want to grow the business. It's a very capital-intensive business, so having partners and sponsors like Fiera and APG are critical to our long-term success.
Yeah, and Metro Connect is a very finance-heavy show as well, so I'm not sure if they're here and you've been able to have meetings with them.
Absolutely.
Good,
Just with them.
excellent. Oh, awesome, great, good to hear. Now, Chris, I want to ask you about leadership changes because you all recently hired a new CFO. His name is Mark Gossett, and he's debuting here at Metro Connect, so he's with you all. Can you tell me a little bit more about him and what he does for Conterra?
Absolutely. So Mark's actually been with Conterra for about 6 years or so, and came in. He was an auditor for us outside of Conterra, so he knew the business pretty well from a financial and a structured framework for a while. And so, what Mark I think brings to the table now is he's moved from that role, being outside looking in, getting inside, and going to the CFO, is how important that triangle offense between sales, operations, and finance really is to drive deals, drive growth. Right, you have to be able to have those right partnerships, the right conversations at our level. Try to be aggressive, but minimizing some risk at the same time because we're opportunistic to build more. It's not a build and they will come model anymore. You have to be very mindful of the 30 things you got to think about to drive revenue and growth. And so we're excited that Mark has some knowledge of that history, his close partnership with us. He can really then start to think creatively about it. Finance being a driver because they don't sit behind the scenes. They got to be right up front, helping us figure out how do we get the right paybacks, the right structures, the right win. And then at the end, you have to drive that customer experience curve, right? And so how do we fund ourselves, not just to win the business, but keep the business and really fund those vehicles in the back end where my operations helps take care of the customers in suit of Michael, and Michael's really driving the customers. So that there's a large ecosystem that he's aware of. We don't have to bring him up to speed, and he can really jump in and help.
It's good that he has the experience. He sounds like the exact right guy for the job. So congrats to you all, and congrats to Mark on that promotion.
Absolutely,
congrats to Mark.
Yeah. And now I want to talk about a shift towards moving up market that's happening right now, Michael. So what does that look like for Conterra, and how are you positioning the company to serve larger enterprise customers?
Yeah, so about 2 years ago, we did a really strategic review of the business, and what we found is we pride ourselves on quality. We build the best network in the industry, and we service our customers like they're part of our family. So bringing that, it really made it apparent that we can service the larger communities and the larger size customers within our footprint. And so now we're really, I would say, what before we were kind of a small to medium-sized business company. We still serve that segment, but we have a large presence in mid-market and the lower end of enterprise today. With that, we've also expanded our portfolio. So we're not just a communication or connectivity customer now, or company now. We now actually have a full managed service portfolio and a dark fiber portfolio to go up and down the stack for our customers.
Excellent. Great growth there, and thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely.
And congratulations also on those new partnerships and moving into that enterprise space.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you all for being here. That wraps up our interviews here at Metro Connect. So thank you guys for stopping by. It was very nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And
Thank
to
you.
all of
Thank
our
you.
viewers, stay connected and happy networking.
Cheers.